prepare the way. All his people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as the mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah, prepare the way. All his people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as a mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. For he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He's calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. Prepare the way. All his people make straight a path. For Yeshua's coming back, so we lift up as a mighty voice. Hosanna, hallelujah, Hosanna, hallelujah. For he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him. He'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. The Son of Man who died for our sins was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, O people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, the people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, the people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called the Son of Man who died for our sins, was raised to life, and he's coming again. So prepare the way, the people of Yah, let us not delay. The shepherd is called, for he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him, and he'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, for he's coming in the clouds with his glory renowned. Make a path for him, he'll be shining like the sun with the sword on his tongue. He is calling us in, so be ready. For Yeshua is coming again. He's coming again.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My name is Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel, and we can't thank you guys enough for being a part of our little itty bitty tiny family that is sitting out in the middle of these woolly and wild jungles as we sit and praise our Elohim Most High for his beautiful appointed times that he has given to all of us. And for those who have never been a part of this channel, for those that have never hung out with us, we're the family who believes that the laws that are found in the first 5 books of Scriptures, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are the rules set for our lives. They are the things that govern our lives. They govern my marriage. They govern my experience with my children. They govern the way that I do business and the way that I treat people. Inside of these beautiful laws, statutes, and commandments that the world's religious system has told us that they don't matter to us anymore, these are the same things that we absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, live by. And in fact, we would be completely harmed if we weren't living by them. The ways that we live, the ways that we operate, the things that we do would be far, far worse because we wouldn't have the good instructions that have been given to us to guide us for all times and for all eternity. Cade, will you please open us up in prayer?
Dear Father, thank you for this day, thank you for your Shabbat, we thank you for your Torah, thank you for your prophets, and we thank you for this day as we dive into your word and we learn what you have set out for us. We learn your Torah, we learn the words of your Son. We ask that it is written on our hearts, that it is written on our souls, that we do not forget this, that we remember this for all generations, and that we are following your ways for all generations. We ask that your Shabbat is blessed. We ask that people here today are blessed with Ruach HaKodesh on their hearts, minds, souls, and eyes, and that they're able to see your word for what it truly is. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, beautiful family that is out there, we are going to go through what they call the Shema. Now, the Shema means to hear and obey. Although you see right in front of you it says only hear, the actual command of a Shema is to hear and obey. So if you don't know who Yisrael is, let me quickly give you a update. Inside of Scriptures, there's a thing called a covenant. And that covenant is just like your lease agreement where you guys will rent a house and you will have your landlord sign the lease agreement. Inside of it, you will, inside your lease agreement, it will tell you the property, it will tell you the things that are included, it will tell you if power is included, garbage is included, it'll tell you everything that is in this lease contract. And if you will pay your rent, and if you don't run fireworks inside of your house, then you can be in covenant with your lease. That means your landlord isn't going to come and kick you out of the house because you are gutting his house where you shouldn't be. Now, we are told in these scriptures that there is a covenant path. And we hear about the covenant, and we also hear about things like the house of Yisrael and the house of Yehuda. But what we do not hear about is we do not hear about a house of Gentile. There's no such place in scriptures that you will find that people who consider themselves Gentiles are saved. And so in our quest for finding salvation, in our conquest for finding the eternity of the proper place to be, we are simply reading these scriptures and applying them to our hearts, minds, and souls. So if you want to be an in covenant people with our Creator, which means you're simply doing what He has asked us to do, this is how we do it. Jay.
Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah is one. And you shall love Yahuwah with your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words that I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as fronts between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
So this is an amazing promise. This is an amazing set of words. And you know, I have a brother in prison. His name is Reuben. And Reuben has been in there for a long time. He's been in there for about a decade now. I think he has like another decade to go. And he was, this is the first time he's ever been into Torah. And what we have with Yah Scriptures prison ministry is we have some of the hardest core thugs, violators of every law known to man and violators of every law known to our Creator. And these guys are learning things. And this was one of these verses I talked to him about, I think about 3 weeks ago. And the one part that he didn't realize is when I talked to him about impressing this upon his children. It is something he's like, wow, I had no idea that these laws of our Creator were so important that we are told in a commandment that we are supposed to literally impress them upon our children. Now, to impress something on our children, I often told him it's something like if you would brand your kid on the rear end, you're impressing them on your children. Now, we're not obviously branding their rear, but at the same time, we need to be branding these into the hearts, minds, and souls of our kids so they are unwilling to violate the laws of our Creator. So I tell you about Reuben because about a week ago, he ended up with a call from one of his kids. Now, he didn't have a very good relationship with his kid, hasn't talked to his kid for a very, very long time. And so he thought it was really weird that he's starting to get into Torah. He's starting to see the ways of Torah and starting to see the fruits of his actions in the Torah. And the woman that he never ever was able to get with because of his to actually talk to his kid, she actually let the phone call go through. And for the first time ever, he and his kid had this conversation about the Torah. And his kid was telling him all of these things, and he was able to keep up with the conversation because he now knows about the Torah. And he said they had the most delightful conversation that he has ever had, and he is so thankful for the Torah and so thankful that there's another way through. Now, Reuben is a very hardcore gang-banging guy, and we just put out a behind the bars story with him, which is rated R. It's not for everybody. I wouldn't watch it. But what he did to get where he is at, this guy he's a killer. You would probably call him a serial killer at some point, but he was in a gang. He was always out killing people. That's all he ever knew. He was a gang-banging serial killer that ended up somehow ending up with a big blue Yah Scriptures and ended up with Jason Boss in his mail. And he's sitting there, and we're talking to these guys. And if you think that there's something in your life that has been done to the point where our Creator is not able to take a hold of it and make something better than what it was, these guys are examples of this every single day. Every single day, I see the hand of our Creator going and bringing these hardened thug criminals right in my inbox. In my inbox, I'm sitting there fishing for men. I don't send an email out without talking about Torah. I don't send an email out without encouraging these guys to read their scriptures and to read them as a love letter from their Creator to them. So, guys, there is a huge group of people of Yisrael, the people who are in modern day world that we are living in that have decided that, hey, there's a better way. There's a better way than this satanic so-called Christian religion that has everybody saved and has everybody raising their hands and being saved up there. Guys, that is a way to death. The way to death is simply reading the words of Paul and taking only the words of Paul as your doctrine. And again, I was talking to another brother about the words of Paul because he was bringing up Acts 15 today. And they were having an argument inside of their little prison cells about Acts 15 and how it's like they were wondering why, instead of them having the conversation about the circumcision party, why weren't they telling the Gentiles to go get the Torah? And so what I explained to everybody is, number one, is when you're taking the words of Paul or you're taking the words of anybody else outside of context and you are not foundationally sound in the first 5 books of scriptures, then you're going to fall. That's the point of us writing the Torah on our heart, on our mind, on our soul, and pressing it into our children, is that we don't have to walk through these lands unprotected. And in fact, we have the greatest protection of all, which is being in covenant with our Creator. And so what we're going to do today, guys, is we are going to go over these laws, these statutes, and these commandments in a slow, organized fashion so that we can write them on our heart, mind, and soul. And every single Shabbat, at the same time, we will be doing this same thing. Just like back in the days of Ezra, just back like in the days of Nehemiah, when everybody was coming out of captivity and everybody heard the Torah and they were weeping because the greatest thing that they had ever heard was something that was given to them at that point, and they realized that the Torah is good for all times, all generations, all peoples. So with that, guys, Mr. Cole, will you please give us a shout out to our brothers and sisters in
All right, we have Cindy
Freedom.
LJ and Tess and Ollie, but I don't think he's there, but we'll add him in there. And then Yehoshua HaMashiach is my savior. Joanna, William and Sarah, Candy and Ruby, Razul, America, Cerebral Patriot, Heidi, Noe is here, Jean Out of This World, Daniel, Rick, Jeremy and Callan, and we have Denise Davis, which is a new name. Welcome to you.
Hi, Denise.
Curtis, Elizabeth and Andy. We have Brian, Honeymoon Stitch. We have Stella G, Mama CA, and Sylvia Ewerts.
Man, that is a amazing lineup for our family out there. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this little reading that we have, a little bit of family that we have, we absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, consider all of you guys our family. And it is so exciting to be a part of this.
And Nancy G just popped in, and if I missed anybody else, I apologize.
All right, Nancy G, thanks for popping in here. Thanks everybody for popping in here. Now, we are going to go through the most exciting, the most amazing, the most spectacular things you will hear all day long, and it begins with this simple command. And guys, remember, in religion, you have 400,000 different religions that have all said the laws of our Creator mean nothing. So you either go with the flow or you go against the flow. And when scriptures say that most people don't make the kingdom, it should be something that we should all be taking notes of and wondering why most people don't make the kingdom. And it's not too hard when you actually read the scriptures to find out that most people don't make the kingdom because they're lawless. They don't care about the ways of our Creator. They don't care about His beautiful instructions to us. They just care about living their life as they want to live their life. And if it goes against the laws of our Creator, boo-hoo, right? It's simply the laws are on the cross. Who really gives a rip? Because we got the new way, which they call the Jesus way. And for those who don't know, there were no J's in Hebrew. Our Messiah's name is not Jesus. His name is Yahushua. Some people say Yeshua. There's a couple different flavors of that, but it's far closer than actually saying the son of Zeus. And so it's one of these things that we've been tricked all our lives. We've been given the wrong names of our Creator, the wrong name of His Son. And finally, at the end of times, we're getting all of this back and getting this restored out there. Okay, let us begin. I'm reading comments real quick. Yeah, okay. Continuing on, let's roll. Commandment number 1, be fruitful.
Number 2, multiply.
Replenish the earth. Subdue it. Have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
The herb bearing in every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families. Master sin.
Every clean moving thing that lives shall be food for you.
Do not eat the blood. Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments.
Every male shall be circumcised at 8 days old. Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover, Pesach. Keep the feast of unleavened bread, festival of Matzah.
There is one Torah for the stranger and one for the Hebrew.
Sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah. There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
Do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat.
Honor your parents. Do not kill.
Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal. Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's.
Do not make an altar from a rock that a tool has touched. Do not go up to the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
Yahuwah's laws for criminals. Do not lie with beasts.
No sacrifices to other Elohim.
Do not oppress a stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
If you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return to him before sunset.
Do not curse the ruler of your people.
Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report.
Do not follow evil.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
Do not oppress a stranger. Love the
Give your land rest in the 7th year.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Keep the feasts of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in his mother's milk.
Obey the messenger Yahuwah sends before you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make you use anointing oil on a normal person. Do not make you use perfume on a normal person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you are going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Women's time of separation.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom HaKippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take your woman's sister for wife.
Do not lie with a woman her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be Kodesh, holy.
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage they are due.
Do not harm the disabled.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
Rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle linen and wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or corners of your head.
Do not cut yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult a medium.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nation.
Keep the feast of first fruits, Shavuot, Omer Count, Pentecost.
Keep the feast of trumpets, Yom Teruah.
Keep the feast of Sukkot, Shemini Atzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Repay injury for injury.
Honor the Yobel, the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against.
The Torah, the law of being a Nazir.
Wear zizi on the four corners of your garments.
The laws of whoever touched a corpse.
Follow Yahuwah's law of inheritance.
The law of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Guard your soul.
Learn to fear Yahuwah.
You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
Bind the Torah, the laws, upon your hands and the frontlets between your eyes.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Cleave to Yahuwah.
Swear by his name.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do to their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger of clean food. It dies of itself, but you shall not eat it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
The laws of the end of the 7-year release.
The nations.
Do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the Nabai, prophet Yahuwah has chosen.
The prophet test of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with a false witness among Torah keepers.
The first child is to get double portions.
If your brother's cattle or clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman should not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies or eggs, take the babies but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that is able to be lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
Torah of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge.
If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get your payment. He must bring it to you. Return his clothing before sunset if that was his pledge.
Do not oppress hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back with forgotten sheep in the field. Leave for the stranger, fatherless, and widow.
Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot, Feast of Tabernacles.
Okay, so there we are, brothers and sisters, friends and family. Those are these beautiful laws, statutes, and commandments that the majority of the world have said have been nailed to the cross. They have no value, they have no meaning, and you won't run into a tremendous amount of people that think differently. And when you do, usually there's some kind of weird stuff where they've been hooked into something else and they end up with a whole bunch of traditions of men. And it just seems very rare that the full truth of what Scriptures is out there without having some man-made understanding come forth, which is not actually what it says in Scriptures. And so when you guys are searching for that covenant path, it always begins at page 1. And it is something that when we read as a individual, when we read as a group, when we read it just to understand, and you're not just reading it to read, but you're reading it to understand, things become very, very clear. And the understanding, it is something that I can sit here and speak till I'm blue in the face, but unless people will actually read the Scriptures themselves, it doesn't do me any good. And so, guys, read read those scriptures. It's something that we should have a daily reading with. Should be something that you're working with your family on. I know a lot of you guys out there have families. This is something that if you guys don't have a Bible reading time before you guys go to bed, I would strongly that you guys all pick up scriptures and start reading as a family. Start at the beginning of the book, read slowly, one paragraph a night, pray with everybody, and ship them off to bed. And it will give you guys a much stronger house than a house without the scriptures. Okay, here we are, everybody. We are into the book of Numbers. Jade, will you please give us a breakdown of what has happened to this point and where we are at?
So we made it out of Egypt. We made it into some land they're conquering, and they're killing giants and people. They broke some laws. The people that broke the laws died. And we made it to more commands. We built the temple and all the holy items of the temple and the tabernacle, and now we are on to the numbers, basically what we learn about priests and how they should act. And now we're numbering the priests, the warriors, we're numbering everyone. So
Okay.
and then we're also giving offerings from each tribe. He's giving a lot of offerings to the priests, and we are just counting people.
Okay, here we are, Numbers 8. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron, and say to him, When you put up the lamps, let the 7 lamps give light in front of the lampstand. And Aaron did so. He put up the lamps to face toward the front of the lampstand, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. And this is the work of the lampstand. Beaten work of gold, from its base to its blossoms, it is beaten work. According to the pattern which Yahuwah had shown Moshe, so he made the lampstand. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Take the Lewites from among the children of Israel, and you shall cleanse them. And do this to them to cleanse them. Sprinkle water of sin offering on them, and they shall shave all their body, and shall wash their garments, and cleanse themselves. And shall take a young bull with his grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, while you take another young bull as a sin offering. Okay, this is very, very interesting stuff right here. These are the rules and regulations on exactly how you are cleansing yourself from amongst, from the rest of the world. And back in these days, how we did it, right? Well, you would shave all your body, wash your garments, cleanse yourself, and then we take an offering and we slaughter the blood, which is the atonement for this sin offering. Okay, 9. And you shall bring the Lewites before the tent of appointment, and you shall assemble all the congregation of the children of Israel. And you shall bring the Lewites before Yahuwah, and the children of Israel shall lay their hands on the Lewites. And Aaron shall wave the Lewites before Yahuwah, a wave offering from among the children of Israel, so shall they be for doing the service of Yahuwah. 12. And the Lewites shall lay their hands on the heads of the young bulls, and one shall be prepared as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering to Yahuwah, to make atonement for the Lewites. And you shall have the Lewites stand before Aaron and his sons, and then wave them, a wave offering to Yahuwah. Thus you shall separate the Lewites from among the children of Israel, and the Lewites shall be mine. Then after that, the Lewites shall go in to do the service in the tent of appointment, when you have cleansed them and waved them as a wave offering. For they are given ones, given to me from among the children of Israel. I have taken them for myself, instead of all who open the womb, the firstborn of all the children of Israel. And so here's one of these things that a lot of people don't understand, the redeeming of the firstborn of Israel, and how the Lewites literally became that one tribe that it changed a tremendous amount. Number one is there was one tribe that was basically taken of all of them, and the Lewites have always been the supportive representatives of our Creator. And without the Lewites, we wouldn't have had the abilities to slaughter the way that we were slaughtered. We wouldn't have the abilities and the procedures and the understanding of exactly how our Creator wants us to do things. Because it wasn't just willy-nilly that all this stuff was done. As you can see from them simply cleansing themselves, it's a process, and everything is in order. There's a lot of things that they could have complicated, and the reason the Lewites were brought out there was as a support structure for our Creator. He didn't just put everybody out there. He put a intermediary support structure to the people of Israel. And a lot of people that don't understand our Messiah, they think that our Messiah came and decided that there were no groups of rules anymore, that everything that his dad had given to everybody, it just doesn't matter anymore. People don't understand that this procedure right here, the entire setup of the Lewites, what's happening right here is the same power structure that our Messiah ended up with. Because in the kingdom to come, we have a perfect priest, and he's a Melchizedek priest. He's a priest that's far above the heads of men, a priest that does not need atonement for himself before he goes and absolves us or tries to atone for our sins as well. And so our Messiah basically took the place of this entire Levitical system that is going on right now. But in the kingdom to come, this whole Levitical system is going to be still going. It's not like everything is over. It's going to be the same thing that we're all reading right here is more than likely going to be the world that we are involved in if we make the kingdom to come. Continuing on, I think I'm at 17, guys. Is that where I'm at?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else having issues, or is it just some? No one comes to the Son unless the Father draws him. Okay, just reading this chat here, guys. Yeah, we slaughtered a lamb 3 years ago. It was not an easy feat. We've slaughtered cows, and it's not an easy feat. It's especially if you don't have a gun. Imagine that, folks. Okay, 17. And we didn't have a gun. We had to slaughter the cow. 17. For all the firstborn among the children of Yisrael are mine, both man and beast. On that day I smote all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim. I kadosh them unto myself. And I have taken the Lewites instead of all the firstborn of the children of Yisrael. And I have given the Lewites as a gift to Aaron and his sons from among the children of Yisrael to do the service of the children of Yisrael in the tent of appointment, and to make atonement for the children of Yisrael, that there be no plague among the children of Yisrael when the children of Yisrael come near the Kodesh place. Thus Moshe and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Yisrael did to the Lewites according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe concerning the Lewites, so the children of Yisrael did to them. And the Lewites cleansed themselves and washed their garments, and Aaron waved them, a wave offering before Yahuwah, and Aaron made atonement for them to cleanse them. Then after that, the Lewites went in to do their service in the tent of appointment before Aaron and his sons, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe concerning the Lewites, so they did to them. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, this applies to the Lewites from 25 years old and above. Let him come into active service in the service of the tent of appointment. And at the age of 50 years, they retire from active service of the service and serve no more. But they shall attend with their brothers in the tent of appointment to guard the duty, but shall do no service. Thus you shall do to the Lewites regarding their duties.
Basically become like advisors, I think, for the younger generation. They're there, but they don't work.
Well, there's a couple things to discuss on this, right? So we have an age criteria of when they begin, and we have to look at all those under 25 years and wonder why they were not qualified for this.
I think I answered that.
Okay, hold on. And then we have all the geezers that are past 50 years of age. Obviously, there's something right there that they're not qualified anymore. Now, why do you think?
Probably not mature enough. You know, they're still considered probably children.
You think?
So, yeah, and they probably brains aren't fully developed anyways at that point.
You're 21. Do you guys feel mature?
Some days.
Some days. Not always.
Not always.
Not always. I don't think. For those out there who are guys, I don't think we ever grow up. I think there's always that the little kid in everybody. I mean, here's an example. Toss a man a ball. What's he going to do? He's like, he's not going to look at it and wonder what to do. He's probably going to toss it back to you, right? Start dribbling it, start running around with the ball or something, right? I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the girls have it, so I don't think there's such a thing. But guys are definitely like that. Okay, let's see what's in chat here since we've been so far removed from it. Yeah, Jeremy's talking about that. It's we live in the land of grocery stores, right? Imagine that 100 years ago. Everybody was out there cutting up their animals, right? Nobody went to the meat market. Nobody went to this. You're hungry. You went out there and you killed the cow. And it is a hard task. It is something very much that we have lost a lot of understanding of this entire system, right? We go to the shopping market, grab a cart, and go to the meat section and grab 10 pounds of hamburger. We have zero idea where it had to go through that to actually become a substance for us. And so yeah, let's roll into this. All right, here we go. Mark 7. Somebody give me a breakdown of where we're at, gentlemen.
1 second, I'm getting there.
Anyone?
As we have Yahushua, he's been
doing his miracles. He's been going around teaching people, but he is rejected by his own people. They all think it's insane. They all think it's crazy. They don't want to listen to what he has to say, so he goes off in other towns to preach and do miracles, and everybody else listens to him. But he's making enemies along the way with the Pharisees. The Pharisees do not want him around. They're going against what he's going against, what they taught, what they teach, and it's impacting them and their following. So they want to find a way to get rid of Yahushua. They want to find a way to get rid of what he is doing and go back to their tradition.
Yeah, and that's one thing about those who are in religion, that they crack the scriptures in the middle of the book, right? They will crack it. Actually, not in the middle of the book is Psalms, but most of them will crack it at Matthew, and that's where they belong, or that's where they think they belong, but they don't have the structure that it takes. And so, the majority of what Boss Clan does, or I guess me, who's working a lot of the people that are out there, the prisoners and also those on the chat and various things, is everybody comes from the land of confusion. But every single person that comes from the land of confusion, I have noticed that they don't come from the land of understanding. Now, the land of understanding begins on Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. And when you read that very, very slowly, then that gives us the way that we should go forward. And as we make it into Matthew and Mark, and then into, the words of Shaul, it's very, very hard to understand, it causes confusion. But when people will go back to the very first of the book and use that as what you do to understand the rest of it, then it's not a big deal. Okay, let us continue. You got something, Mr. Nicole?
No, just Curtis said Shabbat Shalom to Jade and Kate and Anita.
All right.
Shabbat Shalom, Curtis.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, brother. All right, so let's roll into this, guys. We're into Mark 7. Now, when you see Pharisees, we're talking about, if you want to it's like the Lutherans, right? It's like the Baptists. It's like the, whatever it is. All they are is a sect of a different religion. The Pharisees are a sect of Judaism. It is basically, they have what they have in Judaism. And for those who do not understand Judaism breaks Deuteronomy 4:2, because Judaism in of itself brings in hundreds of other books and other manuscripts into it. And when we have a commandment that says do not add and do not take away from the word, that's point blank, right? We don't have to wonder if some part of a oral Torah or something that is not in the Torah is our instructions. It's not. And so we can read it, but if you're reading it and you don't understand the first 5 books, then you're already in dangerous territory. And so this is where the Pharisees, inside of the Christian religion, all the Christians believe the Pharisees are the good guys and the Sadducees are the good guys, and that they were doing good things. And what people need to understand is the Pharisees and Sadducees were not keeping straight Torah. They were not keeping Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy only. They had a tremendous amount of other books. They have another ways forward. And so the Christians believe that the new way forward is that the Pharisees were keeping the laws of our Creator, which they weren't doing. And so the new way forward with the Jesus is that they don't have any laws, because certainly they don't want to be like a Pharisee and a Sadducee. And Messiah's even said that even though being a Pharisee and Sadducee, there were some really, really good people inside of that group that truly loves our Creator with all their heart, with all their mind, with all their soul. And so we have to understand the Pharisees and Sadducees are not the good guys. They are not the set of what it was. Back in the day, they were the power structure. They were the ones everybody had to go see it. Oh, how do we get instructions? Well, we go see a Pharisee or a Sadducee or a Zadducee, somebody of one of these places out there. So beginning here, Mark 7. And the Pharisees and some of the scribes assembled to him, having come from Jerusalem, and seeing some of his Talmidim eat bread with defiled, that is, with unwashed hands, they found fault. Okay, and I'm not going to go any further into this right here until we talk about this, because you and I out there, we just went through the Torah. We just went through the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Torah. Now, if you guys can recall, about 12 minutes ago, when we were going through the Torah, we never saw anything that said we have to wash our hands. Okay, so the question that's coming from these Pharisees, who you have to understand, they have 200 other books other than just the Torah. They're sitting here accusing this guy of eating bread without washing their hands. Okay, that's the problem. This is the entire concept of this, what we're reading about right here. They didn't wash their hands before eating. And again, we don't have a Torah command that says a word about this. 3, for the Pharisees and all the Yahudim, do not eat unless they wash their hands thoroughly, holding fast to the tradition of the elders. And from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many others which they have received and hold fast: the washing of cups and utensils and copper vessels and couches. Okay, so now we've learned what this is. Now, this is one of these chapters that the Christians have said pork has been made clean, right? All food has been made clean. This is the level of their understanding that simply we've read the first 5 verses, and not a single one of them ever tell us that we need to wash our hands before we eat. But we do learn that the Pharisees and all those of the Yahudim, which would be called the Jews, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, did not eat unless they washed their hands. Now, I will go further and explain that on the outside of all their temples, that they had sinks. Like they literally had a sink, and they would not enter the temple. They would not enter the dining place. They would go outside. They would put their hand on the water, and they would spin it around. We're not talking just like grab some soap, water, and wash it. We're talking about you take your left hand, you put some soap in it, then you take your right hand, put some soap in it, you wash the top, you wash the thing. It is a ceremony. We're not talking, we're talking it was a big thing to wash your hands before you eat. And so all of these guys, this is what they grew up in. They grew up with the oral Torah. They grew up with all of these people that have all of these other commandments that are outside of the scriptures. And now they're all confused because they think that they're accusing our Messiah that his disciples are eating bread without hands that are washed. Well, what's going on in this? Okay, continuing on. Messiah, and he answering said to them, well, did Yeshayahu Nabba prophesy concerning you hypocrites, as it has been written? This people respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain do they worship me, teaching as teachings the commands of men. Okay, they just got beat, right? Somebody here just completely got beat. Because you have all these people, they were accusing Messiah of this, and Messiah just spanked them with a prophet that everybody knows. They know who Isaiah is. And so they had Isaiah prophesying that these people, they love me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. So Messiah's out there just trying to get a meal in, right? And these people are sitting there trying to crucify him for the disciples not washing their hands. And Messiah continues on, and he says, in vain do they worship me, teaching as the commands of men. This is why we have a book called Traditions of Men. It's simply because of this, because all of us have inherited all of these commands of men. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, New Year's Day, all of these things are commands of men. They are not things that apply in our scriptures. They are not appointed times that we have ever been told. They are what the world does and how the world operates, and we don't want to be like that. Now, continuing on, Messiah says this in 8. Forsaking the command of Elohim, you hold fast the tradition of men, washing of pots and cups, and many other like matters. So right here, Messiah just says this entire endeavor of washing your hands before eating, it's not going to save you, right? And this is what we are, a lot of people don't get this, right? And it's probably a good idea to wash your hands, right? But it's not going to kill you. We have been built to be able to process germs and to be able to process these things that everyone's so freaked out about now. Let's stand 6 feet apart, right? Oh, we don't sneeze on me. All of these things like this, right? And none of this has anything to do with Torah. It all has to do with traditions of men. And we live in this world of traditions of men right now, and this is continually where we live. So these guys are putting aside the commandments of Elohim in order to guard their traditions. 10, for Moshe said, respect your father and your mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. Okay, that is what the Torah says, right? This is a Torah command. If you don't respect your father and mother, you can be put to death. Messiah says, but you say, If a man says to his father or mother, whether profit you have received from me, it is Corban, that is a gift, you let him do not at all for his father or mother, nullifying the word of Elohim through your tradition which you have handed down, and many such like you do. Okay, so Messiah is just having a full-on spanking session right here. Because first of all, he told everybody it's not about what you're washing your hands. That has nothing to do with being Kodesh or being holy. And then he's also beating these guys down because they have more traditions of men where in the Torah, we are called to respect our mother and father. But if you are in Judaism, you can basically eliminate yourself from the responsibility of a child for your father and mother based upon the traditions of Judaism. And so our Messiah is like, this isn't right. You can't just get rid of your father and mother and nullifying the word of Elohim because you have traditions that have been handed down. And then he spanks them even further. And he says, and many such like you do. Guys, you can't go into Judaism. You can't, if you start studying Judaism at all, it's very, very clear that it is different than what the scriptures tell us to do. In scriptures, we know that we are to love our neighbor. We are to love our neighbor as ourselves. That is the whole thing. In Judaism, there's no such command, right? If your neighbor is not in Judaism, then they are default called a goyim. They are lesser than a human. They are lesser than an animal. And according to the Talmud, the Talmud of Judaism, you can do all sorts of evil things to the people who are the goyim. Like literally, you can steal from them, beat them senseless. There's things you can do to people who are less human because that is their traditions of men. That is the entire thing. You guys want to know what Peter's dream was all about? Peter was sitting there and having a good old slumber, and there's some dirty animals that came down on a sheet, and he heard, slay and eat, Peter. Slay and eat. And Peter goes, I've never had any unclean food across my mouth. I don't understand this. In fact, he was given this dream 3 separate times to figure this out. And the Christians will still tell you, oh, we can eat whatever we want because it's slay and eat, Peter. It has been made clean. When in fact, if you read that entire chapter, it has nothing to do with eating unclean animals. In fact, at the door of Peter's house was a Gentile, the Goyim, that the Talmudic Judaism says we should hate, we should not associate with, we should not go around. We don't need to be involved in this life. Well, there's people knocking at the door. And Peter would have never gone with the Goyim had he not had this dream about dirty animals, that they were able to have salvation. Now, do we have salvation by being a dirty Gentile for the rest of our life? No. There is no Gentiles that are saved. There is no house of Gentile. There's no house of Christian. There's no house of Catholic. There's a house of Yisrael and a house of Yehuda. And we either pick which house we're going to be into in one of the 12 tribes by obeying the laws, statutes, and commandments. So we don't want to get tricked into Judaism. We don't want to get tricked into Christianity. We don't want to get tricked into religion. Religion is demonic. It's satanic. And it is something that it goes against the words of our Creator. And when something is going against the words of our Creator, that makes it satanic. That's just the bottom line. Continuing on. 14. And calling the crowd to him, he said to them, hear me, everyone, and understand. There is no matter that enters a man from outside which is able to defile him, but it is what comes out of him that defiles the man. All right, here it is, folks. This is the Christians. All food has been made clean. And if you guys have never talked to a Christian, you're probably better off by not. But when you do, they will sit there and there's like 8 or 9 verses that every single Christian knows, and that's all they ever know. And it doesn't matter who they are, even the ones that don't know the verses, they do know all food has been made clean. Because they have heard people that are unfortunately saying satanic things off of their lips. And when you say all food has been made clean, you are nullifying the words of our Creator, and you have become a demon. You have become a Satanist. You are doing the will of your daddy Hasatan. So, did all food just become clean? Anyone? Guys?
No.
Okay, so let's try to explain this. There's no matter that enters a man from outside which is able to defile him. That means it right there. I can eat pig. Nothing can defile me, right? but it is what comes out of him that defiles a man. Now, a lot of people will say, well, we can eat whatever we want. Why don't you guys go drink some snake venom, right? Why don't you guys go eat a dead corpse? Why don't you guys go, why do you just stop with the pig? If nothing is able to defile you, just go to the cemetery and dig up some dude and have a steak or something, right? This is what you got to understand. This is not saying all food has been made clean, and nowhere in this is there anything like that. Continuing on, Messiah says that anyone has ears to hear, let him hear. And I find this very fascinating because you have, 3 billion Christians out there, and every single one of them have no ears to hear, and they're deafer than a doorknob. They absolutely cannot hear a thing, and you explain this chapter, and all you have to do is read this chapter. Guys, this is not mystic code. This is not cipher. It's not some weird email that comes from crazy people in death row. It is something that is very understandable. Continuing on. And when he went from the crowd into a house, his Talmudim disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said to them, are you also without understanding? Do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside is unable to defile him? Because it does not enter his heart, but his stomach, and is cast out in the sewer, thus purging all the foods. Number one thing, guys, is what we have to understand is what is food. Pig is not food. Lobster is not food. Shellfish is not food. Catfish is not food. Horses are not food. I don't think zebras are cling. What are some cling foods, guys? Chicken, cows,
Buffalo,
Elk.
deer, elk, things of this nature, right?
lamb.
So we know what food is. Leviticus 11 tells us what food is. So if you are going into this verse and you think that all food has been made clean, that is not what it is saying. It is not saying that you can drink venom of a snake and it won't defile you, right? Because the Christians will say this, do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside is unable to defile him? They will pray over their pork. They will say this is the verse right here without a shadow of a doubt that eliminates the first half of the book, right? You no longer need the Torah because right here we know that we can't become defiled by this. But they don't understand we're not talking about things that aren't considered food, right? That's the whole thing. And the bottom line of this is that our heart is what's going to get us into the kingdom or not. It is how we operate. It is how we are understanding things. It is the circumcision of the heart that brings us into Torah, that brings us into covenant with our Creator. And when we come into covenant with our Creator, we want to do what He wants us to do, right? I can't even imagine a moment that I would ever think that pig is something that would be delicious. Back in the days, that's all we did. We ate the pork rinds. We were the greatest of the heathens. We were great Gentiles. And then we learned that not only is pig not food, but it also upsets our Creator because he manufactured us in a way that we aren't supposed to eat things like this. Continuing on. Whatever comes out of a man, that defiles you, right? What is your heart? What is your reasoning? What is your ways forward? Are you loving your neighbors? Are you having these bad days and you're killing everyone around you, right? Those are the things that defiles a man. Stressing those around us by our words from our heart. 21. For from within, out of the heart of men proceed evil reasonings, adulteries, whorings, murders, thefts, greedy desires, wickedness, deceit, indecency, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of this wickedness comes from within and defile a man. So we just learned a whole bunch of stuff that our Creator really, really hates, right? Evil reasonings, adulteries, whorings, murders, blasphemy. What do you guys think that it is called when you say that all laws have been nailed to the cross? When you say the beautiful Son of the Most High has come to get rid of it so we don't have any laws, when in fact the Scriptures tell us for all generations, all generations, all generations, and our Messiah never ever says that the laws are gone. Never ever says that. And so that's all blasphemy, right? And it also goes down to pride. You tell all these Christians, guys, that pig isn't made clean, that pig is not food. All of a sudden, the pride jumps in. They know what they think they know, and that's the way it is. And you're just a fool for even suggesting that they shouldn't be eating that sweet, delicious, defiled pig, right? Continuing on. 24. And rising up from there, he went to the borders of Zor and Zidon. And entering into a house, he wanted no one to know it, but it was impossible to be hidden. Because Messiah is a celebrity. We've talked about this forever and ever. Messiah was the man back in the day, right? And if people wanted to get their eyes on him, they wanted to get their hands on him, they wanted to hear what he had to say. And who wouldn't, right? When our presence, who isn't going to make him a celebrity? 25. For a woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit about her, and she came and fell at his feet. Now the woman was a Yamanite, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she kept asking to cast the demon out of her daughter. Now, before we get to the story, we have to understand that this is not a person from Judah. This is one of these people that in the religion of Judaism, a person like Messiah would probably never be communicating with them, right? Because they're the goyim. You wouldn't subject yourself to the goyim. You would not let the goyim be a part of your life. And so you have a woman here who has a kid, and the kid is possessed by demons, and she's like sitting there, Messiah, please help, Messiah, please help, Messiah, please help. She kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. Yahushua said to her, let the children be satisfied first, for it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. What do you mean, little dogs? What do you mean, Messiah? Well, in the Judaism, if you are a goyim, you are less than a dog. So what is Messiah saying here? Well, she's asking him to get rid of the demons, but Messiah says it is better to feed the children and throw the little bits to the dogs. Is he saying she's a dog? No, he's saying that he's like sitting there trying to deal with the people he was sent there first for. And then, continuing on, this is the woman's response. But she answering said to him, yes, Adonai, for even the little dogs under the table eat from the children's crumbs. And he said to her, because of this word, go. The demon has gone out of your daughter. And having come into her house, she found the demon gone out and her daughter lying on the bed. And again, going out from the borders of Zor and Zidon, he came to the Sea of Galilee through the midst of the borders of Decapolis. And they brought to him one who was deaf and spoke with difficulty. And they begged him to lay his hand upon him. And taking him away from the crowd, he put his fingers in his ears, and having spit, he touched his tongue. And looking up the Shamayim, he sighed and said to him, Ephatha, that is, be opened. And immediately his ears were opened, and the binding of his tongue was loosed, and he was speaking plainly. And he ordered them that they should say it to no one, but the more he ordered them, the more they published it. And they were immeasurably astonished, saying, he has done all well. He makes even the deaf to hear and the dumb to speak. Now, guys, envision a world before Twitter, envision a world before you have the news programming, a world where how do you get information, right? It's like that old telephone game that we used to play as kids, right? You'd have 15, 20 kids in a line, and one person heard the conversation, and each person whispered it to the next person, and by the time you made it to the other end of that, you had no idea what it exactly was saying. And so that is our Messiah that is sitting there. Don't publish this greatness. And these people, they had never seen this greatness. And these people are people, and they're going to go talk. They're going to go chit-chat, and they're going to go to their friend Bill, and they're going to go, Bill, just check out this guy. He just like put his fingers in this guy's ear, spit, and then opened his eyes and opened his tongues. This guy's incredible, right? Everybody's going to talk about the stuff they saw, which is why Messiah could never ever lay low, which is why he could never really probably ever have a real day of peace, which is why there was always struggles as our Messiah walked these lands. But you know what? Our Messiah did it, and he walked these lands perfectly, and he is the absolute best option for a priest for us. If there was any priest at any point, at any time that is qualified, it is absolutely our Messiah. And when the word says there's only one name under heaven by which man may be saved, guys, we're not talking a saving, only knowing the name of our Messiah, because a lot of people, I don't think our Messiah is going to turn people away if they know him as Jesus. But what he will turn them away for is the same thing that is in Matthew 7, that he says, depart from me, you who work lawlessness. You who don't know what the Torah is, you who have no value in the Torah, you have no place in this kingdom to come. And if you want a place in the kingdom to come, it's going to be for people that are cheering on the rule of Elohim. We're cheering on the Torah. We're cheering on those who are keeping the Torah. We're cheering on righteousness, kodeshness, and the way forward. And so, guys, we thank you guys very, very much for being a part of this. We thank you very, very much for listening in and for being a part of our family. We love you guys. We love you all, and it's always an amazing time to be alive. Okay. Let me see here. Let me read this. Jay, do you want to go ahead and bless our people?
Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift his face upon you and give you peace.
Yeah. All right, guys. Reading through the comments right here. Yeah, and Rick Johnson says, I ask those who follow the Gospel of Paul if they can give me the red letter verses, right? Of course, there's no red letter verses in Shaul's words. And, you know, a lot of people, they either hate Paul or they love Paul. And I don't either way. I don't love him or hate him. I'm not happy with his writings, right? I believe that if he knew what was going on in today's age, which he probably does, that he would have been far more clear. But guys, when you read the letters of Shaul, and you read, guys, they're not to you. You are not an ecclesia out in Smyrna, somewhere way out in nowhere. You didn't ask Paul a question about a problem that you're having at a little tiny congregation at some place way back in the day. Paul was answering questions that people were asking him, and it's an illegitimate letter because we don't know what the first of the letter is. You're having to put a whole bunch of I wonder what these guys were writing about when he writes crazy things like the law is gone. And Paul was extremely articulated. And for those who don't know, there's only 4 or 5 books of Paul's that are actually attributed to one single author. Most of the people that have studied this in Greek and understand the writings say that none of these books sound like the exact same guy. And for anybody that's ever tried to write a letter that you don't want to sound like yourself, it's really hard. It's actually really, really hard. And so I believe there's a lot of these things that are led in our scriptures and left in our scriptures as tests, right? As the tests of the generation that we're in. Right now we are in the goldfish generation. In fact, I think actually goldfish have a little higher of attention span than most of the people today, which is why you have the shorts everywhere. You have something for 30 seconds, and if people can't digest this in 30 seconds, then they don't want it. And this is all programming, right? This is all satanic. This is exactly what the devil wants. He wants to have an answer for everybody as he leads everybody into the depths of hell. Okay, all right, guys. Well, with that, we love you all, and let's get this out.
Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down.
All right, beautiful family. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine on you. May the grace of the Torah be in your life. May the diligence of the Torah forever be in your life. And may Messiah Yahushua be a part of everything that you have. And may we all be able to greet and meet each other next week on a Shabbat.